Welcome to the Waldock Way. I'm Jessica, and today's video is going to be January Carschooling. In case you're new to the Waldock Way, we live an hour from civilization, which means even a simple trip to the grocery store, doctor, or library is a 2-hour round trip drive for us. So I keep this amazing, very large organizer in the car full of fun, hands-on things for Emily to do that keeps her occupied, her brain engaged, and they're somewhat educational so that we're not turning to tablets and screens the entire time. Does that mean we don't incorporate screens? Not at all. Of course we use screens, because if it's dark, she can't do half of these things. But this is just to help curb some of that screen time and give her something else to turn towards. Plus, it gives us the opportunity to grab things out of here and take them inside if we have a super long wait, like for a restaurant or a doctor's appointment. The first thing we have in our car organizer are what we call a mobile stem bin. So these are the principal cards that are stem bin cards from Teach Outside the Box. This is the winter ones. I change these out frequently, and then she gets to choose which medium for building is in there. This month she chose to keep her ++ blocks. These are actually the ones from the Target dollar spot, so they would just be hashtag blocks, but that will be her building medium. She can build anything she likes, but these are just for ideas and inspiration. Next up, I keep a Sterilite pencil box with Crayola erasable color pencils. Emily is a perfectionist, so this way she can erase any mistakes that might happen because we've hit a bump in the road or, you know, a sharp turn or something. And then we also keep some mechanical pencils in here as well so that she can write and draw. The next thing we have are these learning wrap-ups. This happens to be the multiplication set that Emily got for Christmas in her stocking. I thought this would give her a way to practice the multiplication without it being super frustrating. So it's really, really fun. You just wrap this around the answer. So like 4 times 1 is 4, and then you turn it over when you're done and see if it matches on the back. So these are a really fun way to practice math that's for kinesthetic learners, because they're actually physically moving and doing something. The next thing I have to practice multiplication as well is the Usborne times table practice pad. This is about a 5x7, so it's like half of a sheet of paper. So it's small and travels well. What I really like about it is that you can see here, it walks them through multiplication if they're not used to it or they don't know it yet. Here it introduces them to multiplication as like counting by 2s and adding 2 and 2 and 2. And then we slowly move into more complicated things as we're still working all through 2. So there's multiple pages here to practice 2 times tables. And then we slowly move on to 3s, and this whole book is set up that way. So you could spend, you know, a few weeks on each of the different times tables until you mastered them and then move on. But nothing is the same within each one. It's kind of different and it's varying, and it keeps you entertained and occupied. I always try to include a single player game in our Carschooling, because this is one of those things that is really, really great to grab and take in with you. We also can make a single player game be a multiplayer game by taking turns. So if we're at a restaurant and our wait is really, really long, we can grab this and we can take turns and challenge each other to maybe, you know, go up a level or up a card or however that works. This is her solitaire chess. She got this for Christmas. So it has all of the cards in here, which has the different challenges and the different plays. Then you slide it open and it has all of the chess pieces down inside. So this is one of those things where it's all contained in one box, making it very convenient for Carschooling or school on the go. The next few things we have are kind of art inspired. We will be going to Epcot's Festival of the Arts this month, so I thought we would throw in some art inspired things because I know she will have questions as we get closer to that or as we're leaving from that. So this is the Professor Noggin art, I think it's art appreciation or art history. I'm not sure the exact name. I will make sure I link it for you guys. And what she loves to do with these is she'll put this in her lap and she'll roll the dice in the box. And then she'll flip it over and she'll ask me or my husband that question. She kind of goes back and forth. So she's reading the questions to us. She tells us if we're right or wrong. And then she likes to see, like, she'll put a stack on one side of her for daddy and a stack on the other side for mommy to see which one gets the most right answers. She loves stumping us. And I love that she's learning and practicing reading at the same time. These are the Usborne art cards. They are probably some of our favorite. They are really, really sturdy. They have a beautiful image on the front, and then they have tons of details on the back about that image. So I know, for instance, the Mona Lisa, I think it's maybe even called the Mona Figment. I'm not really sure what they refer to it as, but I know this is one of the paintings that will be at the art festival. And so she can flip this over and read all about it. So she can learn more about who painted it, when, where, what it's made of, where she could see it. And then it has like things for you to notice and things did you know, so additional facts. So we have all of those art cards in one of these little plastic holders. Next up, we have the Spot the Differences Art Masterpiece Mysteries, book 1. I think we have books 1, 2, 3, and 4. I just grabbed book 1 off the front because it has the Mona Lisa on the cover. And again, I know that's one that's going to be featured there. It also happens to be one of her favorite pieces of artwork, besides things that Van Gogh painted, because Van Gogh is her favorite artist. So these are really, really fun. Each spread has information about the painting you're looking at, and it has 2 paintings side by side, and it really has you study the piece of art almost in a picture study type of way, because you have to find things that are different. So like for instance here, you can see that there's only 1 of these little flowery cattail type things, and here there are 2. Just to really be paying attention and looking closely. So like there's a dog or some sort of animal here, and there's not one here, that kind of thing. And then each one has, like I said, information about the painting, and then it even has a thing over here where you can keep score because it tells you how many differences there are. And in the back, if you get stumped, it tells you all of the differences. So I thought this would be a fun one, kind of like a what's hiding there, what's different, art inspired for her. And like I said, this is kind of art inspired too. It is a paint with water, but it's Lisa Frank, which was a throwback to my childhood. And it's just very colorful and bright and artistic. And I thought it would be fun for her to be able to paint these in the car. We use a paintbrush that has the reservoir built in, so I don't have to worry about having water anywhere. I just keep this in the car. I can refill it with one of our water bottles or a water fountain if we're at a, park or a playground or a rest area, and then she could just put this on her clipboard in her lap and paint the different scenes. Next up, we have a color by sticker, create artwork one shape at a time. If you have been around the Waldock Way any length of time, you know that they have kids versions of these that we absolutely love. It's Paint My Sticker Kids, I believe, and we adore them. So Emily does them all the time. I do them with her. I find them very therapeutic. This is a step up, and I'm stepping her up because I think she's ready, and I think this has a little bit more of an artistic feel to it. So all of your stickers are in the front, and then here is the complexity of the pieces that you're creating. So each one of these little spots is a sticker that you're putting on to create a masterpiece. The next thing in there is the Usborne Art Activity Book. This is a recent new release, and when it came in, I absolutely loved it. It has write-in puzzles and tons of stickers, and it's all art-based. So you're spotting the differences, and you're completing the art pieces, and you're using stickers, and it is just a ton of fun surrounding art, making your own art galleries. I just thought this would be a really, really fun one to include with an art inspirational background. Then of course I always like to include books for her to either look at or read. So because we were kind of going with a little bit of art background and to give her a little bit of art history and exposure to art, I picked up our Usborne Lift the Flap question and answers about art and the Lift the Flap art books to put in there. These, if you have never seen them, are amazing. The question and answers, each page answers the questions of what, yes or no, why, where and when, how, who, and which. So you just have all of these different questions like, did ancient Greeks really look like this? And then you lift the flap and it has the answer and some extra details about it. We love the Lift the Flap because it's interactive and it's giving her something to do besides just reading. And it also helps them to remember more, in my opinion. The Lift the Flap book is just as fun. It's just not set up with questions. So you have different sections. So this is exploring art. And again, you have all of these really fun flaps to lift. This one hasn't been lifted before, so it's going to be a pain. And this one has like multiple little ones within it, which is really fun. Then you have making art, colorful ideas, moving images, bright lights, hidden meanings, and art detectives. And again, all of these have little lift the flaps, which is really, really fun. The last thing I include is normally a clipboard full of worksheets. I'm not a huge fan of worksheets, but the ones that I put in here are from the Moffatt Girl No Prep Pack, and they are normally a lot of fun. They're interactive. They're kind of like, for instance, January's is winter themed. So you can see here we have like selecting the right resource. If you're trying to figure out how clouds are formed, would you use a dictionary, thesaurus, or encyclopedia? We have some addition with penguins, making shapes with penguins. So they're always kind of fun, interactive worksheets that aren't quite as boring as some. This is really, really great if we end up going on like a long day away somewhere or longer than I thought. We can pull this out. It can go with us. This clipboard is amazing because it can just double as a work surface in her lap. So this is probably in almost all of our Carschooling baskets for every month.